I wanted to go through this hand. Quite a hand. It was very much a hand that stood out to me. This hand here, with Michael Duek, Matthias Eibinger, and David Yan, and this was from the 2024 WSOP Paradise Triton main event that was in the Bahamas last year. So I'm going to play this clip, and then after I will react as I go along, and then give my thoughts afterwards once the hands is done. The blinds are 5-10, raising to 22. Standard. Totally standard. With 17 bigs and an open from under the gun, I think in that spot you're just good to fold your fives. Nothing wrong with that. Just a call is fine. So raise from under the gun. So a very loose, aggressive player is Matthias Eibinger. Not many people would want to take just a flat call with 6-4 off. But he's going to defend the big blind, so freeway, and let's take it to the flop. Set over set, eh? I think he could have put a bet in Duek in this. Built a pot. Start building a pot. You definitely want to bet in this spot now. It's a decent sized bet. Still think he made a mistake not betting on a flop, personally. Aggressive guy is Matthias. It did not surprise me when I saw this at first. Boom. Booyah. Yeah, great bet size 1. Stack to pot. SPR. Yep. Boom. His face. Oh, his face. And boom. Straight over 3 of a kind. The 8 high straight. And he's gone. Wow. So that was to me quite an interesting one right there, because I just said to myself, "Gosh, there's no way that Dueck should be good and should be fine in this spot." Normally in this spot when you've flopped the set, you're pretty good. There's those opportunities there where the board can pay it on the turn in the river. So I was quite surprised to see how that played out. But there was just those thoughts in my head that made me think, could he have played the hand better? Was the mistake that he made not betting on the flop, to build a pot? Or would it have not made a difference anyway? But different scenarios, because on the flop, let's say Dueck, maybe if he had taken maybe let's say a half to 2/3 pot size bet, that's quite a good spot in a situation like that. You want to build a substantial pot. The many players, we call with an ace. Maybe Matthias and the big blinds coming in. I don't know, with maybe ace seven suited, ace nine off, maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe more than likely, probably a suited ace, perhaps if he's got an ace, Matthias. But I think if he was betting half to 2/3 pot, that would that's pretty good there, because it's not good for Eibinger with his straight draw. Um, that's about 2.5 to 1 pot odds. Not great, but it's not terrible. But you want to get that good balance there with for Dueck in his case, with building the pot and charging draws. Now, I've sometimes, my initial reaction was maybe, would it be a quarter pot bet on a board like that? It's rainbow. It's a rainbow, but I think a third pot would maybe have been good, perhaps, or maybe slightly less. Smaller bet size there will be used to entice calls, from wider range of hands, including those that only maybe have ace high, or maybe even perhaps a backdoor draw. Keeps Eibinger his straight draw in the pot, allowing Duke, he could potentially win more if he improves, or if Eibinger, misses, but the consideration is that Eibinger, betting just a third pot is maybe given Eibinger, and then you got David Yan in that hand. Too good of a price to draw out on Dueck. Now with the check raise on the turn, so Dueck's decision, with checking the flop, perhaps that did signal weakness there for them to then decide to bet on the turn. There's maybe just it's possibly that he's just got a weak ace, or just air. With check raising the turn, you got Eibinger there essentially, calling Dueck's bluff. He's going to have that kind of mental checklist at Eibinger, very tough player, tough professional player. It could be a weak ace, just a medium strength hand. Maybe he's the one that has like a hand like Jan, like pocket nines. But then again, Dueck is known as he's a pretty good player in his own right too. He's up there. If he's playing 100k buy-in, most definitely. He might be trapping. Slow playing a strong hand to trap an aggressive opponent. And Eibinger is known as quite an aggressive opponent. But with Einbinger's hand, he's 6-4 off. He's got the open-ended straight draw. It is a very good semi-bluff. So doing that, putting that, about that 3x. Yeah, so there's a 3x raise in the turn. Very good, putting a lot of pressure on there. But in that spot, should Dueck, should he go all in on the turn? Should he just flat call? It would have been, it would have made it pretty tough for Einbinger, with doing an all in there on the, re-raise all in on the turn. But I think ultimately Eibinger would have gambled and made the call. I feel that he would have done that. I don't think he would have snap called him if let's say Dueck went jammed, re-raised, it went all in on the turn. But I think ultimately, if Dueck had done that, he ultimately would have made the call. But yeah, so I mean, just flat calling, I think Dueck on the turn with the raise was fine. So he's kind of like setting that trap there. I don't think, does he have him on a straight draw? I don't know. Perhaps, maybe, I can't read his mind. I don't know. But with that though, there's that thing there. If it does induce another bluff as well from Einbinger on the river, because with doing a raise there on the turn, I highly doubt that Einbinger there is just going to check on the river. So he probably Duek feels that he's good. He's going to be good. He's going to be fine. And his set, flopping his set is fine. That he should win that hand. He should win the hand overall. And my spot, when I first watched the hand and went through it, I said to myself, my just gut feeling was like Duek should at least bet a quarter pot. Bet a quarter pot on the flop. Larger bet would make it kind of incorrect mathematically for Eibinger to call with a straight draw. A bet of 2/3 of the pot, that gives him, the 2.5 to 1 pot odds. So it is a very poor price, but the thing was, yeah, so doing maybe a larger bet on the flop would have been good. Like I said, go before half pot, 2/3 pot. But the case for like a quarter pot bet, deceptive. Small bet often looks weak, disguises the true strength of Duek's hand. That it makes Eibinger think he's just simply making a continuation bet for a weaker hand or a draw. But yes, I mean the case, for I think ultimately, yeah, shoot. Knowing Duek can't see, obviously couldn't see Eibinger's cards that is 6-4, but you could have made the case that yes, he should have shoved all in on the turn. To deny him that chance, possibly have seen a free river card there. So then you could have pushed him off the hand. He could have folded. Eibinger possibly might have gambled. A player like him, quite an aggressive player, loose aggressive, probably might have gambled there. My feeling is he would have. But it does put you under a lot of pressure there, though, if you decide, if you're re-raising all in. I think that's maybe what Duek should have done on the turn there. But I think in just his mind, it's, Einbinger's probably maybe got an ace. And his set that he's flopped is good. He should be fine. Einbinger doubt that he's got pocket tens. He's re-raising that. He was in the big blind. He's definitely going to re-raise that. With an under the gun open, and then the button flat calling. He's definitely going to re-raise if it was pocket 10. So more than likely, Duek probably thinks that Eibinger has an ace there. But that hand, though, I thought was quite an interesting one, just starting out with doing this channel. But take please feel free to check it out, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts were. What do you think should have maybe went, in terms of how, Duek and even Eibinger played the hand? Give me your comments and give me your take and let me know what your thoughts were and maybe how that hand you think could have gone better. It'd be curious to hear what you guys think. But that's me for now, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.